alive!
How do we know she is alive?
I hate when people talk during the movie.
No wire hangers ever!
You are tearing me apart, Lisa!
Your stupid minds! Stupid! Stupid!
Relax. It's all in bad taste.
I have a question for everyone here.
They're all virtually the same, just slightly different.
Ryan keeps wanting to talk about his fucking book. I have a question for everyone in the room, if that's okay.
Go on then.
It's a really serious question. We all like E.T. here, right?
Well,
No.
I mean,
It's fine. I watched it once.
it's E.T.
Yeah,
It's a family
Wasn't the
classic.
answer I was expecting. That kind of backfired on me a little bit.
Try that again.
Right,
Try that
let's
again.
try it
Sorry,
again.
okay, yeah.
Do you think E.T. is a well-made movie?
What a masterpiece.
Absolutely.
What a
That's
masterpiece.
blew my mind.
That's Spielberg,
Absolutely
right?
amazing.
Yeah.
He's an up-and-comer.
And John Williams.
He's going to do well.
Oh.
Yeah, can't go wrong there. Right, so you like E.T. Yeah, everyone likes it.
Yep, love it. Favorite
Would
film,
you like
yeah.
E.T. better if E.T. was a meth head?
Probably.
I mean, I
More
don't see how
relatable.
that could have gotten any better. Yes.
Then you are going to love today, my friends. I hope everybody's hungry for Big Macs. Because today we are serving nothing but cheese.
Okay, subversion.
Mac and cheese. Mac and me.
Is your script just one line
It's just one. It's puns. The entire episode is just going to be puns.
It's sad that you have to write them down.
I have to remember them. Yeah. Hey everyone.
Inorganic
I can't.
puns.
You've seen me try and do them. Do you remember all the where the cat puns was the first one, right? Where I just couldn't.
At least
I couldn't
you
do
can
it.
come out with words.
The hex puns with the Alton Towers shit.
So, yeah.
do you want to? Yeah. Do you
For
want to do the Alton Towers
context,
story? Yeah,
we
let's
all
do
went
it.
to Alton Towers.
Exceptional.
We all went to Alton Towers a couple of years ago, and there's a ride called Hex. And we spent the entire rest of the day just making shitty hex puns for no discernible reason because we were bored waiting in queues for
Hey,
hours.
they
and
were
hours.
exceptional. What are you on about?
But
Wait for you.
Liam, just bless him, struggled so hard. He tried really hard to get some
I'm
puns.
an,
right.
I'm an English teacher.
When he did get one, he just copied something someone had already said.
Pretty much. I struggle with I just struggle. I just struggle in general.
I feel you, Liam. It's
You
all
get me,
good.
you get
I
me.
What's
get
that
you.
thing called when the sun comes up?
We're not going to do just a roast. This isn't a roast, guys. Chill the fuck out. Hey everyone, it's Liam here, and welcome on this cool summer day to the Bad Taste Buds, your weekly roundup of the very best of the very worst in bad cinema. As always, I am joined by the effortlessly cool Jack. You could say this episode is going to be Jack and me. But I guess it's not because Hannah and Ryan are here ruining things as always. Yeah, we've got the whole cast here. We've got Hannah, Jack, and Ryan. Say hi, guys.
Hey.
How are we all doing, yeah? We all good?
We're all
Having a good time?
Excited?
Yeah, happy to be locked indoors on a glorious summer day as usual. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, I'm tasting that rainbow.
Yeah, we've got a good one for you today as well. You know, if you're listening to this episode right now, well, first of all, seek help. That's your own fucking fault. Second of all,
definitely.
you are here for a absolute treat. Today we are covering Mac and Me. From the upper echelon of best worst, in my opinion, anyway. Me and my friend over at Tipsy Flicks, who you guys know quite well, George over at Tipsy Flicks, lovely guy. Give him a follow. We are having a discussion of as to what is the cream of the crop as far as best worst go, like the holy trinity of what the best worst films are.
Oh, I have to
I mean,
take a stab at
we
this.
came to a decision there's a top three. There's like a holy trinity, and it's like pop quiz time.
Can
and
we see if we get them?
Do you want to see if
Everyone
we
do
see
the
who can get
rounds.
them?
Okay,
Right.
so I reckon
The Room is an
I'm going to tell you right. Jack,
Aw.
you can still say Jack, you start.
It's 3 movies.
3 movies, okay?
Okay, The Room.
I'm not going to tell you if you're right or wrong yet.
I'm trying to think. My brain's just gone completely.
Just The
blank.
Room.
What else
3
have I
times.
watched?
Watch The Room 3 times.
You would say Troll 2. I disagree. But
That's
Troll
fine.
2 is probably on there.
Add it to the list. I'll tell you, give you a hint. They're all from different periods of they're all from different eras, decades.
Yep, great hint.
So you've got the entirety of the
We-
film
so-
industry to pick from.
This was 80s. Troll 2 was also 80s, so not Troll 2.
This is not part
Is
of
this
the
80s?
This is 80s. I'm going to say this is not part of the Holy Trinity, Mac and Me.
I feel like The Room is definitely up there. Did
The
it go
Disaster
up?
Artist.
Thank
Disaster
you.
Artist, yeah.
So I feel like it's got to be up there. If anything, it's like a gateway drug, isn't it, into bad
It's a
movies?
good
isn't
first
it?
movie, yeah.
Other bad movies.
Ryan, do you want to take a stab?
Yeah.
It's not like we do this weekly. Or
I know,
anything.
right?
So,
If it helps, none of you have seen it yet.
knowing Liam, these are going to be genre.
Planet, what's it called?
These are going to be
I'm not giving you
genre-defining
that.
movies. So I think Plan 9 from Outer Space,
Yeah, that's the
because that
Well
is one of the originals. That is
Yeah.
early 60s.
Yeah.
one. I'm looking forward to when we cover that one.
Troll 2 is a major one in the community, and there's
Yeah.
screens for it every year. It's huge. That's definitely going to be one.
Best Worst
and
movie was
The
a big
Room,
documentary. Yep.
obviously.
Yep.
The gateway.
You did pretty well.
into Best Worst.
Yeah.
Apart from Hannah saying Planet what was it? Just
Planet
Planet 9.
something.
Plan 9, I would say we kind of came to the agreement that Plan 9, Troll 2, and The Room are kind of that cream of the crop, the holy trinity of best worst. Mac and Me is right down next to it. Like Mac and Me is like so close to the conversation. It's like in the outer circle.
Mac and Me's quite well known, though, isn't it, for a bad film?
Well, for a few reasons, it actually was a bit genre defining in the way that it. So I know we're jumping forward a little bit. It kind of introduced the McDonald's tie-in. It's such a weird thing to say that Mac and Me introduced the McDonald's tie-in. We're going to get into the fact that this is basically a McDonald's advert for 90 minutes.
They called the Razzie the Ronald McDonald Award.
The product. I almost choked. I love it so much.
I've never actually seen this. Just to be clear, Paul Rudd is not in this.
He's not in the movie. No, he just loves it.
I just assumed. I fucking assumed he was in it. Because all my knowledge of this film comes from that bit on, is it on Conan?
The Conan clip.
Yeah. Again, just for a little bit of context, I think most people know this by now, but every time that Paul Rudd tries to advertise a movie on Conan, instead of playing the clip from the movie, he just plays the main kid falls down a fucking cliff in a wheelchair off a fucking cliff, and he just keeps playing that every single time. And
it never gets old.
It never gets old, yeah. I mean, Paul Rudd can do no wrong, let's be entirely honest.
I think the last time he did it was Ant-Man, and I don't know how he gets away with it last time it was, Disney won't let me mess around. This has to be the real thing. Come on. Shows about 10 seconds of Ant-Man. It goes in the magazine.
I wonder whether or not he's been stopped from doing it, because Disney historically had a bit of a feud with this film because of the McDonald's thing. And again, I'm getting a little bit far ahead. So basically, Mac and Me was financed. But it's Disney being Disney.
They own everything.
I actually do. Before we get into all the facts around it and the trivia around it, I do want to give a few shout outs to people on Instagram who are very excited for this episode. I've got one guy in particular. Danny Darko, who's been a follower in specific. Danny Darko, who's been a follower since the very beginning of this, and he's always given us loads of really good content on social media. He's got a fantastic social media himself. Him and his daughter are going to be listening to this episode.
Aww.
So everyone stop the profanities right now. And they're going to be watching.
That's all I've got.
I'll start bleeping. I'll put like a little bleep track on this. But yeah, Danny Darko, you're an absolute legend, and I hope you enjoy the podcast and the movie. And I hope your daughter enjoys the movie as well. I think she's seen it a few times already, which I just wish I was that child growing up. That's like my dream life growing up. I love it. But that's kind of why I do this and why we do this and why we love these kind of movies, because there is something special about watching a lot of trash, I think.
They're the sort of film that you come together as a group, don't you?
Yeah.
To watch, and you enjoy watching and you laugh together. And I know, you've got your comedies and your romantics and all that kind of stuff, but this is its own little
It makes strong memories.
Exactly.
I do want to mention before we go much further. I saw the film before the Paul Rudd thing was big, just to be the ultimate hipster.
Of course you did.
I don't need Paul Rudd to tell me what to watch.
You done well.
Haven't you done well?
If we learned anything from Liam, right, it's to
embrace everyone and don't gatekeep. Listen to Uncle Iroh.
Yeah, well, that's good advice to follow. This film gained it's a bit of a second wind. So it came out in 1988. It was 6 years after E.T. Now it's famous as being one of the first mockbusters, they're called. And this is a genre that I actually don't know the hell about. They're almost like a sub. Wow.
You missed it there.
Wow.
It's going to take long.
You didn't have that one written down, so.
Mockbusters is like a weird subclass of best worst. It's something I don't actually know that much. It's the
So is it going after something?
No, I'd say it's not even spoofs. It's not.
Copycats.
They're basically rip-offs is the best way to put it. It's not a mockbuster. So you've seen Snakes on a Plane. There is a company that made Snakes on a Train.
It even rhymes.
They're still really big. Like there's quite a big influx of Disney rip-offs.
I'm just thinking of the bit in Community, Portuguese Gremlins.
Yeah, that's a perfect example. Perfect example of a fake mockbuster, but a mockbuster nonetheless. There's a lot of Disney ones, like there's like Hannah. Just let Hannah enjoy this for a minute. No. She's back in the room.
3, 2, 1. You're back in the room.
Yeah, so the idea of mockbusters, there's a studio that exclusively deals with mockbusters called The Asylum, and there's been...
That's quite an apt name. I quite like that name.
Well, just because they're nuts.
Yeah.
The Asylum deals with, they deal exclusively in mockbusters. Bleep both ears. I'm just going to keep going through it. Right, so yeah, The Asylum, the last one that they came out with, the big one that they came out with, was a rip-off of the Godzilla vs. Kong movie that they literally called Ape vs. Monster. That's the level of, that's the level of creativity they have with this shit. I think the closest we're going to get to it, probably on the...
Shyamalan name it.
Shyamalan. The Shyamalan. Whether that is hyper specific, yeah, but the closest we're going to get to is probably covering Birdemic, which is obviously a direct rip-off of the Birds.
Oh, fuck yeah. Can't wait.
But I don't know that
Swearing.
much. I don't. He's the one who edited it. He's going to have to put the bleeps in. It's absolutely fine. That's probably the closest. I'm not a massive fan of mockbusters. I have said that I'm going to do one for the 0.5. Me and Ryan are going to review one, which is going to be fucking hilarious. So like the Disney ones and the anime, there's shit tons of Disney
what sort
ones.
of Disney ones are there?
Well, it's not Disney, but there was a rip-off of Happy Feet called Tappy Toes, I think it was called.
Why would you bother?
There's like up in the air instead of up. But this is because it's easy. Like the story's there.
That's it. I don't know. Is it just some people who are just sadists?
It must be. I mean, it must be. I think it's what I think it is. There's a few things I think it might be. I think they're banking on like old people, like grandmas, walking into like Best Buy and seeing.
Buying snakes on a tree.
But no, I was more thinking like buying Tappy Toes. Like, oh, I've heard about this dancing penguin movie. This must be what it is. And then they give it to their grandkid on Christmas. It's like that scene in Mitchell and Webb where the guy gets cocaine instead of heroin for Christmas. He's like, "Be nice, thank you, Grandma." She thought she was getting the right film. It's one of those situations.
It's like me buying the domain name for Google.com, but with an extra O. And just filling it full of adverts and making loads of money.
A lot of it is the domain actually as well. So a lot of the reason there's Disney ripoffs is because a lot of them are still in public domain. So something like The Princess and the Frog, they can get away with calling a film The Princess and the Frog because that's a public domain name and story. And they can't get sued. It's in the public domain because it's thousands, hundreds.
Is it making them any money? Because this is actually.
They're still doing it.
We're derailing here.
Smart, to be honest.
Yeah, what film are we talking
We're
about?
derailing here, but while we're on the topic of Disney,
Do it.
I've heard it's called Disney Frozen because it stops people Googling it and Walt Disney being frozen is the first thing that pops up.
No, are you serious?
I've heard that. I've never heard any substantiated evidence for that.
It's now
But
a
I've heard
QAnon podcast.
I've heard, this is like deep dive. Also, also politicians are lizards and what have you. The vaccines are a lie, COVID's a hoax, etc. But no, apparently, again, I've just heard it speculated that people think it was Disney's Frozen because then it isn't stories about Walt Disney being cryogenically frozen.
I mean, it
I
makes
really
sense.
hope, I hope someone was in that room being like, "Oh, we're making this film. While we're here, can you do me a favor?"
Imagine. Yeah, but you're absolutely. There was actually a legal battle. Last thing on mockbusters because I do want to get on to talking about Macamee really soon. There was actually a legal battle in 2012 against Warner Brothers with the Asylum. They sued them when The Hobbit came out because apparently Hobbit is still the term Hobbit is public domain at this point because of how old that book is. I think it's like 100 and something years. You've got to wait for it to become public domain. I don't know what the
normally things like that.
Yeah, and they and Warner Brothers won. They went to court with the Asylum Studios against a film that they called Age of Hobbits. Won, and they had to change the name. It got changed to Clash of Empires.
Well,
instead.
things like Dungeons and Dragons, it's
Yeah.
Halfling.
Yeah,
rather than Hobbit. They never call them
Yeah.
hobbits in like D&D or
So-
anything like
Do you
that.
think the
But
Russian guys that did the film should sue Warner Brothers then?
The Russian guys.
Weren't they first?
Or the Russian Lord of the Rings.
Big shout out to Warm Tin Podcast there.
Aye.
We miss you, Tom. No, absolutely. So yeah, mockbusters. This is probably one of the more high-profile mockbusters, so it has that kind of legacy as well. But it also kind of had its second win through Paul Rudd showing the clips. I think a lot of people saw that and then wanted to seek it out. So I think
it's literally only known for those two things, though.
it's known for TK3. Well, I've said that fucking wrong. Mystery Science Theater, the riff track guys.
It's one of the latest
They
seasons.
did one of their. That's a really popular show. It's less popular in England.
I know what you're
It's
talking
less
about.
popular in England. It's basically guys who just riff movies. They watch movies and just take the piss out of them as they watch it. It's really good. To be fair, it's a good one.
Available on Netflix.
Paul Rudd was torn between that clip and one from a film called Baby Geniuses, which is also
I've not seen it, but I've heard of
like
it.
2% on Rotten Tomatoes.
It's on the list.
Of that caliber.
I also think there's like 4 sequels to Baby Geniuses, so that's going to be a
Baby
fun
Genii.
one. Genii, yeah, multiple Genii.
Oh, we were really confident Mac and me was going to get a sequel. It did not.
Well, they ended it. Yeah, we won't get too much into the end yet, but
We'll be back.
I
We'll
feel
be
like
back.
that's
No, we
like
won't.
a telltale sign of quite a few of the movies that we've watched.
So-
to be fair.
so much confidence, so little follow through.
One.
I know, right?
New Mortal Kombat movies literally just done it.
Yeah, no, it did. Just a weird cultural reference. The new Mortal Kombat ends on its big, like, we'll be back, but it's not good enough to really merit it. We'll see. But yeah, it's sitting at 4% currently on Rotten Tomatoes. It's actually gone up. But a few years back, it was 0. Like maybe 10 years ago, it was 0. So people have started watching it and then be like, that's wrong.
This is McDonald's paying people to go see it.
Well, that's kind of its lasting legacy as well. The reason we see a lot of movie tie-ins with McDonald's these days, Macamee was one of the first. I don't think it was the first. Most of its budget the production budget was from the corporation that runs McDonald's. McDonald's basically funded this film. Half of the box office intake went to McDonald's as well.
Really?
No, when I-
McDonald's
Well,
charity.
the Ronald McDonald Foundation.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the charity,
Oh, okay.
not just McDonald's. Like,
What?
they do go on record to say they didn't finance any of the movie, but there's like a shell corporation that finances McDonald's that financed the movie, so they more or less did.
This has just sounded like a hell of a lot of tax fraud.
It's just the most capitalist fucking thing you've ever heard, isn't it? Like, this is a Karl Marx nightmare.
Business model is
Yeah.
So I take it this didn't make its money back.
Oh, were you? Yeah. So
I'll hazard a guess.
on a budget of 13 million, it made back 6 million.
Tidy.
So pretty
3
bad.
million
So
went
when
to
you
the McDonald's
when you
charity.
half that, yeah,
I mean, good on them for keeping their word, even though they made.
They didn't have a choice. It's a contract.
that clown's gonna make his
He
fucking
lost
money.
10 million.
But there was a as soon as this happened, as soon as this deal happened, Disney swooped in there as they always do, and well, shit, we'll give McDonald's our film rights as well. Let's sell toys, like as Disney and McDonald love to do. But what's hilarious is they were contractually obligated to keep with the Mac and Me, the Mac and Me toys,
Like the Happy Meal toys.
yeah, a couple months. So Disney couldn't even get in there until after that deal was done.
I want to know if we can get them online somewhere. I want a Mac and Me McDonald's toy.
That's
Right.
sick.
Yeah, if any of our listeners and like eBay hounds can find us any Mac and Me toys, please let me know and I will
I bet
buy
they're
it.
worth a mint now.
Straight away.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, but Jack, what you mentioned earlier about the Razzies, it didn't actually win Worst Picture. But I love the fact that it gave, what was it, Worst New Actor, was it? To Ronald McDonald.
Worst new star.
What a fucking, the Razzies are great, man. It would have been great if he showed up like Halle Berry did and did a full speech.
What's kind of funny is watching all of this, like, one successful product,
Yeah.
and then everyone tries to imitate it and copy
That's
it.
it.
You guys are aware of the E.T. video game, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Have you heard about this?
Fucking
Oh,
yes.
So
Hannah.
the E.T. video game came out in 1983 or something like that, roughly. And this was a time where video games were pretty new. But either way, this game spent 5 weeks in
Yeah.
development. It was properly rushed through because of one reason or another. And this game has been accredited with the crash in the video games industry in the 80s, 97% revenue drop and things like that.
Jeez.
This game was broken. There was invisible instant death hits. There was broken walls and physics. for a 2D.
You just die out.
It's just unplayable, basically.
Yeah, the textures were so the shades, because it was a grayscale kind of it was basic colors. The colors were so close together, you didn't know what was scenery, what was a fall, what was this. It was the worst. It was known as the worst game ever. Thousands upon thousands of copies ended up in landfills.
I love that part of the story. They just were like, you know what? It's not even worth. We'll just bury them. I don't want to try and sell this shit anymore. Let's just bury this fucking thing. But now, aren't they crazy expensive?
They actually
I'm
are.
assuming now it's
it's like a
eBay.
collector's
Yeah,
item.
collector's item.
I think it's just because it's historic. It's Sod's
That's it.
law, though. Even if it was shit at the time, if it's
Exactly.
old, it's worth money now.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Looking back, going, God, I wish I kept my Pokemon cards as
It's
a kid.
No, I wish my parents didn't throw out my
Oh
Pokemon
no,
cards.
that's hit a sore spot. My parents, I had thousands of those.
Mine
fucking
just
things.
vanished when I turned 15. I'm pretty
I
sure
had
my
one
mum
of
gave them to the
those
charity shop or something like that. You know.
First edition Harry Potter books. Can't remember which one it
Oh,
was.
the ones
but
that
if
are
you
millions
remember,
now.
I'd written on every other
Oh my
page
God,
my name
yes,
and
you
pen because
had.
at the time
You're
when I
an
was
idiot.
little, I was very proud that
My
I
name is
owned
Hannah
this
Curran.
book.
I'm Hannah Curran. I'm going to deface millions of pounds of property. The ET game is almost like the best worst of.
No, it's the worst.
It's just the worst of the video game industry. Quick few things before we do get into trailer talk. The director Stephen Raffel.
You say so?
That'll do. That's close enough. He's done a few other things. Quite
Stuart Raffel.
fucking hell. But yeah, Stuart. Thank you, Jack. Sorry about that. Has done a few other notable films. Specifically, he did Mannequin 2, Tammy and the T-Rex, which is something I do want to show
Oh,
you
I've heard
guys.
of Mannequin 2.
Mannequin 2, yeah, it's a film. And he did Swiss Family Robinsons.
It's a film.
He also did Swiss Family Robinsons, which I know is big. I've not seen any of these films, if I'm
I'm
being
not
entirely
saying it,
honest.
but Swiss Family Robinson's culturally referenced a lot.
Tammy and the T-Rex is one that a lot of people have told me to watch. Apparently, it's not quite best worst, but it's fun trash. It's about a woman playing. It's about a woman who falls in
good
love with a
trash.
T-Rex. That's so what could go
Naturally.
wrong?
Hang on, I'm confused. Is time travel a thing in this?
I don't remember.
Oh,
I
bet
don't
there was
know.
a Christian group somewhere that went absolutely acca about that movie.
Hey, Raphael, he was hired last minute. This is another few things of why this was such a train wreck. Hired last minute. From what I can tell, he was given his crew, he was given his set, he was given the money, everything was going fine. He asked where the script was, and the producer behind the film, basically said, "We don't have a script. I didn't like the script that we had. You've got to write this thing on the weekends, as you're filming the film. So film during the week." Right at the weekend, come back with a script.
Hang on, so did they have the story still?
They had the skeleton,
basis,
yeah,
but absolutely no
but the story's
dialogue.
just ET. There's no, the story's already filmed. That's the problem.
If you need a hand hunt, here's the ET DVD.
Just there's your
We
homework.
have the scenes. You just
DVD.
have to make it not sound the same as this movie.
Oh man,
DVD.
but there's a.
Can I just say,
I know, yeah, no, actually, Jack's saying spot on. We're saying DVD, and it's 1980 fucking 8.
burst.
But
You
my
get a-
favourite thing, right, without knowing anything about this movie so far, like absolutely nothing, I'm quite looking forward to going into this blind because it just looks like
Best way to do it.
an intense, amazing experience. But my favourite thing is the fact that MAC actually stands for mysterious alien creature. Why?
I thought it was for
Is
macaroni.
this aliens particularly mysterious? Aren't all aliens
So I'm
mysterious?
thinking in my head, this is also just a tie-in for McDonald's. Like, oh, mysterious alien creature, Mac and me, McDonald's.
Well,
Well, it has to be, right?
possibly as well. Yeah, that would make more sense. But mysterious alien creature.
I reckon they just want the acronym for Mac.
I mean, ET's
that we
extraterrestrial,
get away
That
with.
makes sense.
but the other one is an acronym, so they have to have an acronym.
Mysterious.
Yeah, so I think he was kind of railroaded at this last minute. It was a very rushed project. I actually think he does the best. I mean, me and Ryan have seen this. You two, I'm really excited to show
I've seen
you.
this a couple of times.
What's kind of going in before you, what was your memory of it, Ryan? 'Cause it's been a few years.
I remember it being pretty ET-ish. With some great
You reckon?
one-shot scenes. Like, all the stuff that's same as ET is pretty much same as ET. It's like, oh, men coming after the alien. Protect the alien.
Did they have flying bikes?
But, mate, no, it gets dark at one point.
Oh.
It's for a kid's film. It's a kid's film.
We'll get to that on
Gets
the
a bit
afterwatch.
dark.
We
Yeah,
don't
no
spoil
spoilers.
anything.
Yeah.
I'm kind of looking forward to going into this one with no
Best way
real
to do
knowledge.
it.
I
Other
mean,
than
you've seen the clip with like Paul Rudd and the kid falling off.
yeah,
the
but that is
wheelchair in the cliff.
literally.
That's not the worst bit. Of
I just
it.
think it's a bit tone deaf. Like it's very tone deaf. It's like it doesn't really know what it's doing. Like
Tone deaf as in offensive or tone
Borderline.
deaf? Okay.
But it's great. It's fun. It's fun. It's a lot. This is again one that I know for a fact that you two are going to at least enjoy. It's not boring. There's not a moment you'll be
We're
bored.
not going to put bets on how fast it's
No,
going to take
there's
Jack to fall
no
asleep.
need. But yeah, there's a few. I think we're ready for a little bit of trailer talk. There's a few things I'm going to cover on the after bit, but I'm really excited.
I would hope so.
Nah, we'll just stop. We just won't do the second half.
The bet I'm going to make before we start is before we finish the movie, I'm going to order the McDonald's. I already have Skittles here ready.
That's
We have-
true.
oh, we have Coke. We have Coke.
in hand.
Oh yeah, so we'll get
Just
the
need to go
trifecta
upstairs
of
now, buy some clothes.
Yeah, we're enjoying the refreshing taste of Coke Zero.
yeah,
No sugar, same great flavour.
Sponsors of Bad Taste Buds.
Better flavour.
Will we get sued if I say that? I don't think we will.
Well,
Let's
for promoting a product for free.
That's
Surely
true,
not.
yeah. Bezos would be
We're
proud.
going Coke is fucking awful. Yeah, maybe because of slander, but I don't think by saying nice things about a product you're going to get done.
That's a good point, yeah. Let's pop the trailer on. If you're listening along with us, pop the trailer on. We'll be back in a moment for trailer talk.
What?
I don't know what that was.
They'll be back in the moment.
What?
This is Jack from the Bad Taste Buds, just to say that this week's sponsor is Coca-Cola Zero. Try the refreshing new taste with the new recipe from Coke. While I've got you, why don't you try the wrap of the day from McDonald's for only $1.99? Available and crispy or grilled if you're feeling like, you want... Fuck, I've
You
lost
want a
it.
fucking rap?
I've lost it.
No, only if you want to fuck.
If you want to fuck, order the wrap of the day.
Remember when we were going to be careful because there was a kid listening.
Yeah.
I'm
When you order
so
wrap of the
sorry,
day,
Danny
then-
Darko,
yeah.
and your daughter.
You order the wrap of the
really
day, and the
hope
guy at the
your
counter just
daughter is
locks
like-
eyes with you and just gives you a wink. Oh,
I think we're a little bit delirious from the heat.
Trailer yet.
Right, trailer talk. Go.
They were an average alien family living on their own planet. And we were an average family living on ours. It's about more than friendship. It's about adventure. Mac and me.
this June, show your pride by buying Skittles with all of the colours taken out of them for some reason. Enjoy as we save money on flavourings and colourings and things, and apparently promote pride because every company does, because it's just fashionable to do so for the month. I don't know.
We're gonna use
Representation.
Anyway, Taste the Rainbow.
we're gonna use your sexuality as a marketing ploy.
Because it's legal to be gay now.
So it didn't spoil the best bits of the movie. I'll let you know that. That was good. I mean, I did enjoy watching the trailer for ET though.
It's just ET.
Which is essentially all it was.
Down to the iconography of like the glowing fingers, but in a different position, so it's not copyright.
That musical score is like a semi-quaver away from being John Williams' score.
It's like Jack Williams.
Oh my God.
It's Jeff Williams.
Jeff Williams. That's just ET, yeah. There's not a lot to talk about in that.
There's a lot of
trailer.
explosions.
No, yeah, and you can already see that considering how much did they spend on this movie?
13 million, yeah.
And
And
13 million in
decide-
the 80s was a lot of money.
Yeah,
It
man.
was, and they decided to use the one scene where she's flying through the
Oh,
roof, and you
yeah.
can literally see the mechanism
You can
she's
see
attached
the
to.
rail.
Like-
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
It cuts halfway through the house like a full circle.
fishing wire. It's it's a movie.
Fuck me, this cost more money than ET. We've just Googled it. I just paused to Google it there. ET cost $10 million to make. This cost 13.
What confuses
What the
me?
fuck?
Right, so I don't understand.
Sorry, Danny Darko's kid
Darko's
again.
daughter, yeah.
Sorry, that's very swearing
I'm
episode.
so sorry. We
promised not to
went
swear.
in with such good intentions.
We promised not to swear. We've
What
done
the
more
hell's
than
great
usual.
with them? Like, what I don't understand, if this was a cash grab, like after last season was, then I'd get it. It's painted backgrounds. It's so obviously set as like bad sets.
Yeah.
And it just looks crappy and cheap. But they're proud of this movie. They
Where-
thought they were getting a sequel and they were onto a hit.
Where did the money go? It cost more than ET. I can't get over that.
No, they're like,
Well, the trailer had about 17 explosions in it.
that's
so-
where the money went.
Yeah.
Like, we're not being daft. Like, there wasn't like some massive economic collapse between these
I
two
mean,
films, was there?
it was 6 years. Not that
Yeah,
big
so
a deal, right?
£3 million. I don't
Yeah.
remember this. Like, did Wall Street crash or something? Was money worth less in 1986
Well,
or
one of
whatever?
the
You know,
sets McDonald's already owned anyway for one
Yeah.
of like the set scenes.
Yeah.
where did
So
the
they
money
did pay
go?
for that.
Jesus wept.
We're all a bit spellbound right now.
But they asked like Kim Basinger and I can't
Who?
remember who
Kim Basinger?
Passenger.
She's in.
the
Sorry.
Basinger.
What's happening right now?
Sorry, another Annie Donna thing in it.
Yeah, it is. It's either that or The Simpsons. I always think about The Simpsons episode with Kim Basinger and Alec Baldwin. The Homer
Oh my
crashes down
god,
the air.
yeah.
What were you saying about Kim Basinger?
That she was offered to do the role and she quite rightly turned it down.
What, the
but,
role
like,
of Mac?
Yeah. She offered to play the alien.
Yeah.
But they had like 13 million on paper, bar this being an ET ripoff. Probably sounded like it was going to be like a quick, good cash grab. It's like, yeah, high paid action. Like, yeah, I'll do a ripoff, get a decent paycheck, get out.
So, in juxtaposition to, like, what was it, Tappy Toes or whatever
Tappy Toes.
Liam was talking about, I'm guessing they're quite low
They're
budget.
made on like a
cheap.
shoestring. Nothing,
Yeah, like super cheap and cheerful. Or by the time you've bought it and realised your mistake, you've already paid for it kind of vibe.
Yeah.
Where this
Yeah.
genuinely seemed to be like wanting to be its own product, but just a complete rip off of a product that came out 5 years before. It kind of baffles your head about what was the
Mad, isn't it?
the
Yeah.
pitch for this, wasn't it? We're going to rip off ET, but it's going to cost just as much money to
film as well.
yeah,
still.
and it's going to cost just as much money to make, if not slightly more. Like
Yeah.
we don't have John Williams, we don't have Spielberg. What the?
What was
just-
the thing?
I
The thought
can't.
going
Yeah,
into this?
who funded this other than McDonald's?
McDonald's.
Yeah.
I think it's quite nice to watch a corporation fuck up this bad, though, right? And in some like socialist
That's
version
true.
of my head, I'm like, well, at least we get to watch one of the most capitalist films you'll ever see fuck up massively. So fuck you, McDonald's. That being said,
Try the new mayo chicken with bacon for £1.49.
that being said, if McDonald's want to sponsor us, I'm not going to say no.
No, you're not going to lie. I genuinely know.
Yeah, Ryan's got the munchies. I'm ready to watch the film. If you guys are ready to watch the film,
Let's do this.
okay,
Let's order
fantastic.
some food.
Wait, what food? What are we going to order, Ryan?
McDonald's.
How about the new triple cheeseburger for only $2.39? I'm making these prices up. I've no idea. I don't need it.
How much does one banana cost, Michael? $10. Yeah, grab yourself some McDonald's, grab yourself a Coke, grab yourself some Skittles, and put Mac and Me on. If you're in America, you can find it on Amazon. Again, I'm literally plugging Amazon now. Jeff Bezos.
Not the first time.
If you're in England, you have to get it on DVD, or you could get it on Pop Locker. We'll see you soon, guys. Are we ready, boys and girls? Are we ready to open a nice cold can of Coca-Cola?
I've been alive again.
I feel rejuvenated. Thank you. It's actually not even Coke. It's you know what? I'm
nice beer, that.
I am gonna plug it. It's the Belching Beaver Brewery Miso Honey Blonde beer. We're doing a product placement movie. We may as well do a little bit of product placement. Thank you, Georgia Tipsy Flicks, for this beautiful beer. Sorry, let me have a slurp now. You guys talk about something. We're back, bitches.
Okay.
That's quite nice, that. Sorry.
Short and sweet.
I don't stay quiet for too long. Like, you'll know that. We have just returned from watching Mac and Me. The buds are all together. We're all awake, which is...
What a film.
Yeah, man.
Excellent.
Yeah, man.
10 out of 10, right?
Better than
E.T.
Yeah,
Better than E.T.
Better than E.T.
Like, what does that say about you, I think, just in general? That you think it's better than E.T.?
I don't want to delve into that psyche
Yeah.
too much, to be honest.
Too much. Worrying things.
Worrying things. Yeah, so Mac and Me, 1988 ripoff of E.T., which I think we all are in agreement, better than E.T. It's more entertaining just in general. Like, you can't really be bored during this thing. I will start us off with a 30-second synopsis, which is probably going to be less than 30 seconds because I literally just ripped this off Google and it's like 2 lines.
You don't even need to rip off Google's like, it was E.T.
Are we plugging Google as well? Do they need
Why
the
not?
PR?
We're doing it for Amazon.
Do you want to do the 30-second synopsis, right, if you want? You don't have
Who
to.
does right? NASA sends a probe out to an alien planet. The aliens get sucked up into the vacuum of the machine.
Ghostbuster style.
Ghostbuster style. They travel back to Earth. The little boy escapes from the alien family. The rest of the family also escape but go in a different direction, get lost in the desert, nearly die. Kid fucks off, finds a family like E.T., befriends them, gets chased by government officials like E.T., runs off with the kid like I.T.
Like I.T.
Like E.T. They get to McDonald's and the big dance number happens like E.T.
Wait, like E.T.?
Just like E.T.
That was the one original moment, right? Don't undersell it.
They find the family, they revive them with Coca-Cola, they go to a gas station, the kid gets blown up and then gets revived by the aliens. Aliens get citizenship in the United States and become citizens, and we get set up for a second movie, which never, ever, ever is going to happen.
And that synopsis, if it sounds as batshit as it is just as batshit as the actual movie is.
It's if somehow you managed to succinctly recap E.T. and Mac and Me in the same sentence. Well done. This is verbatim just the plot of E.T. down to like even the climax, the way they're kind of like they rescue the family and get back. The only real difference is that they don't go back to the home world. I guess they stay here and just become American citizens.
Kind of like around.
And wear those
Dad's
horrendous
arms
suits.
hanging out the window. He's the cool dad.
Let's start off by talking a little bit about the design of the aliens, because I think that's probably where I was. I mean, I absolutely adore this film, but they are horrendous puppets. Wherever this $13 million budget went, it definitely wasn't.
Do you think originally they were trying to do like a horror type thing?
I mean,
they
that's
got
where
like
my
the
mind
design
went.
set
What
up,
seems
and then they
like.
just went, "Oh no, we can't spend any more of our £13 million budget trying to make like a more friendly looking alien, so we'll just
Literally.
stick with the horror ones."
My acronym for Mac is Monsters Aging Catastrophically.
Yeah, nice.
Mine was
We're doing this.
Marxists against Coca-Cola.
Oh, mine was just McDonald's and Coke.
You got left with the shit one. I forgot. Oh, I was saying mine was Mums Against Canada because I was thinking Mums Against Canada because I was just thinking about South Park the whole time. Yeah, the whatever budget was not spent on the creature design whatsoever. You're right. I would like. It is horror movie esque. Like
It goes to show, like you. I'm trying to think of like a modern puppet thing, and all I can think of is Baby Yoda.
well, yeah, Baby Yoda. Yeah,
Like look at that versus this. It's just the way they
I mean,
move is
you could just
so-
compare it to
There's
E.T.
30 years
Yeah.
between that, but yeah, E.T.
Well, Dark
hey.
Crystal at the time, E.T.,
All
Labyrinth,
the Jim
anything
Henson
Jim
stuff,
Henson.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Like
Yeah, it's just the way they walk, and it's like he always thrusts his like genitalless
Yeah.
crotch like right in your face as he walks and stuff. It
Full
was really
pelvic
strange.
rotations.
I would much rather be like left alone in a dark alley with like a full-on alien like xenomorph than one of these fuckers any day, or a predator. I'd take my chances with.
Yeah, at least you know what Xenomorph wants.
Yeah.
My biggest issue with their design, right, is that they're Martians. So
Mhm.
they come from
Yeah.
a planet. They're definitely Martians, right?
They're
from
Martians,
Mars,
they're
right?
Presumably, is it
Okay,
never
so they
said?
come from a dry planet anyway.
Yeah.
They've got webbed feet.
They have
Like,
webbed feet.
at what point during like the evolutionary process is it just a sick joke, or is it like you're destined to use that by saving? Like, why
I told
webbed
you,
feet?
they're like flying squirrels that can glide through the air.
They shouldn't-
Spread the toes.
You're right. They shouldn't have. You said they shouldn't have been allowed to evolve this far. Like this, evolution should have stepped in at some point. And be like, this needs to stop.
They can only eat via straw.
So I tried to get a list of their powers as we went across through the
And
movie.
I'm so glad you did.
They can manipulate metal and electricity.
Yep.
They're made of rubber.
Yep.
They can breathe aquatically, or he was under the water and just like pushed that chair out like it was no big
No
thing.
biggie.
Dog/horse wrangling. Super strength, fireproof, They can fucking raise the dead.
Yep.
Or
Necromancy.
And levitate a
necromancy.
body.
Necromancy, if you prefer to call it that. And levitation.
I was.
That's a pretty bitchin'.
You know what? I think it lends the question: who would win in a fight? The aliens from Mac and Me or Grandpa Seth? That's the real like battle royale we
Grandpa
need.
Seth can walk normally.
That's very true. You just suck these guys up in a hoover in the dumper, aren't they? But I do like, so yeah, Mac arrives on Earth, he gets separated from his family and ends up kind of with this. What was the, I'm trying to think the name of the family. Like,
I quite liked the opener on Mars. I thought that was actually pretty
it's not
good.
bad.
Yeah.
It's
Well,
like,
they stick a metal straw in the ground and suck up some water.
well, but
No,
Where
it's
did
just
you
like
get the cloth for the clothes?
the
On
actual
Mars?
set design for like the 80s and stuff wasn't too
Well, this is
bad.
what-
That's
yeah.
where the budget went.
Yeah.
They spend all that opening scene. It was actually shot on Mars.
yeah, it opens with them on Mars. NASA sends the Mars rover up. They accidentally hoover them up because they're liquid, apparently, liquid form. And then they get back to Earth, they separate, and then Mac, the child boy alien, ends up with the Cruz family. He kind of starts by just tormenting them like a creepy little fucking poltergeist for most. Just fucking with them.
soaring down the house and like
Gardenscaping inside.
I mean, the first thing he does in relation to this family is cause like a 30-car pileup by like accidentally landing on the windscreen of the Cruz family, which causes the mother to just drive into the other lane, like towards traffic, because that's the more sensible reaction to do when something hits your windscreen.
That was a different family. That wasn't the Cruz
was it a
family.
different family,
That
was it?
Yeah, that was a different
It was
family.
dad
Fair
and the
enough.
little girl. She had her own kind of coke.
But regardless, he's already responsible for the deaths of at least 20 people, like
Yeah.
5 minutes in.
Oh, I wish we'd done a body count.
We should have done that. Was the other thing. We have Powers, body count. But he does eventually end up with the Cruz family. And most of the runtime of the film, the first 30, 40 minutes, he's just fucking with them. Like, he's just moving furniture around and bringing rocks in from outside. And which the whole time, the mother.
It was very pretty. I will say it was very
It
pretty.
was actually. It was a very good gardenscape inside.
But
Well done. Good
Maybe
eye for
he should
detail.
go into horticulture.
What me and Hannah
Yeah.
both noticed was absolutely ridiculous.
Absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah, she remembered.
They painted such a good relationship between the mum and the child and how close they were. Like, he was like saying thank you for getting them such a good house, and they give each other hugs and the kisses, and then all of a sudden they just accept that he's had this huge personality change in one day and starts drilling and sawing the house. Somehow creates a desert space in the living room, looking 2 huge boulders and hanging birds off the ceiling fan.
Yep.
Again, this child is in a wheelchair and has somehow done this in the dead of night with nobody hearing anything,
Yep.
and then turns into an adrenaline junkie and just jumping off a cliff. Or the darker version, he tried to top himself.
Which-
and
yeah.
the mum's response is, I can't believe he's done this. Like, what?
The mum-
Surely you know your child better than this. He's claimed multiple times that there's someone in the house. He went to bed with a bat in his
Yep.
in his bed. She found that, saw how scared he... But no.
Award for world's worst parent right there.
What the fuck?
Because not only that, she also leaves him continuously. So right, in her head, my child tried to kill himself. My child is destroying the family home, destroying all her heirlooms.
Yep.
Best go to work.
Best go
like,
to work.
yeah, I don't need to worry about this
Just
fucker.
leave him with another child from
Yeah.
next door.
Let's
that they've
babysit
met
the
for,
other.
like,
Yeah,
what, an hour?
but this is the idea. Like you're right. Like what is the dynamic here? Like what's the tone? Like I don't get me wrong. I absolutely love this, but it's more of a. It's less like a family comedy, more of like a disturbing Saw-esque horror film with this alien just tormenting the life out of this kid. And you're right, that scene where he jumps off the cliff, obviously the famous Paul Rudd scene, is so much better when you actually like watch it in context, I think. There's something, because he did that stunt as well. This kid actually has spina bifida, which, if we're going to talk about actual positives of the film, like at least they're casting a kid with an actual disability. in the role.
Representation matters.
I wish it was in a better film, like, you know. But he did that stunt as well. Like, he was up until like almost the cliff's edge. He was doing that stunt
But
down the
again,
hill.
why would the bottom of your garden have a huge archway that led to a
Led to a
death
crevice,
trap?
yeah.
Like, what?
It's America, man. Fucking property value. I don't fucking know. Probably got the house for cheap because it's just on top of a fucking sudden drop.
Maybe that, like, well, after this, the kid went on to just do some competitive races, and that's about it. But maybe that stunt's what, like, sparked him off, being like, yeah, I can go at high speeds.
Well,
Like,
he was actually, like,
got
in
him into
real life,
racing.
though, he was, like, a
He was
real-
doing
Yeah, he got into some competitive races.
Yeah, man, good for him. You know what?
Good kid.
He's not the worst kid actor. None of the actors are particularly
Well, I
good.
mean, he didn't act again afterwards.
Yeah.
No, but I don't think
Yeah.
any of the actors were particularly bad.
I wouldn't say the cast are bad, really. I think
Nah.
it's just like the concept, the script, you know, the rest of the
Everything
film.
else.
And the
I
fact that,
wouldn't besmirch the actors. I think they did well with what they were given.
yeah.
The man was in Richie Rich, and I had
She
no
was.
idea. I was so gagged. I was so good. I remember her vividly from that movie.
She's got a very mum face, doesn't she? 80s mum face, like,
Yeah,
80s mum
yeah.
tone about her.
And do you know what? Credit to them as well. If he was writing the script every weekend while they were filming, they had to learn that in what a day.
Exactly. This is.
Like-
I mean, you turned to me. We both said you can tell it was written on the go. Like there are scenes that just kind of end without any context. There are scenes that I just put in there to clearly get the 90-minute mark, the feature length mark. Whereas like, we're like 10 minutes too short. What do we do? Oh, I know. 10-minute McDonald's commercial halfway through the movie, which we will probably get to when we talk about favorite scenes, because I'm dying to talk about like some of the best scenes in this film.
But stuff like when they were at the petrol station, they had a scene where a car pulls up, the alien puts his hand out the window and takes the Coke out of the hand.
No, it was Sprite.
It was Sprite.
Oh, Sprite, yeah.
Which
it was
is
Sprite.
probably owned by Coca-Cola, let's be
I
honest.
think it is. I think it's a. Well, on that note, let's talk a little bit about the product placement, because I mean,
Damn.
you can't talk about this film and not talk about the product placement. It's pretty much an impossibility.
90-minute advert.
It's a 90-minute advert for a couple of things. You think McDonald's funded it, and yet Coca-Cola probably get the best deal out of it.
Yeah, but you can buy Coca-Cola at McDonald's. So.
You can.
Yeah, they have that deal.
There you go.
But I mean, the two largest
Wait,
contributors.
was it the large Mac?
Large Mac.
the large Mac, please.
The two biggest contributors were McDonald's and Coca-Cola, and then
Yeah.
secondary was Skittles and Sears.
And Volkswagen.
We're wondering about
Jack
Volkswagen.
Volkswagen?
I've not
Volkswagen, yeah.
read anything
No, it
on
was
Volkswagen, but I am
Ford
curious
and-
about it.
Oh yeah, Volkswagen. For some reason, my brain just went Volvo for some reason.
That's
Same.
Twilight.
Yeah.
Is it actually?
One of them's Twilight. Now I'm wondering, isn't it Volvo?
So yeah, I made a tally when we started. We decided it was probably a conducive thing to make a tally, and we decided, so yeah, McDonald's got. It's hard to really say what McDonald's got. It's referenced throughout, but then you get to the.
He went big with it.
They went really big with it about halfway through with this dance scene. That is probably my favorite scene in the film. So I said about like 30 references altogether for McDonald's.
But then on that with Coke, you've got to factor in that Coke, firstly, is this alien's lifeblood and tastes exactly the same, has the same nutritional value as the water on Mars.
It's mother's milk to them.
Mother's
milk.
milk. And not only that, there was the scene in the supermarket that had a bunch of cans stacked up.
It's hard to tally because we were with Coke. It's less of a product placement, more of just the plot. Like
It is Ambrose, yeah.
I think Ryan glossed over probably my favorite scene, which is where they Mac finds his parents and his little sister in a cave dying,
fucking Christ.
and they literally bring them back to life with Coca-Cola.
Well, yeah,
they literally like get the straws, put it in their mouths, and like 3 minutes later,
Let's
feel
be
fine.
honest, the Coke can was the main character in this film.
Yeah, well, again, because I mean, the reason that they play off the Coke as being so important is they say it's similar at least to the natural resources they find on the planet.
It must be like what they have on their
complex
planet.
carbohydrates,
Oh, that was a
water.
child.
No, they say that. I'm sure he says it must be like it must be what they drink on their own planet or something. Which I'm loving the reaction of NASA once they do actually finally explore Mars and they just realize there's a natural reservoir of Coke up there.
Just a huge fuck off vending machine.
Yeah, they're all Coke fiends throughout the entire thing, aren't they? They're just absolutely fucking Coke addicts. But you're right, like the scene that you're talking about, Jack, which again is one of the best scenes in the film. It's lit like a horror film. Like you enter and look at Hannah's face, like she was terrified. It's
Those 3 dead aliens.
the end of the cave and there's just corpses. There's these absolutely
I
dehydrated.
mean, the puppets don't help because they look like they've got 3rd-degree burns. Like the skin is just
They look like
weathered
they've got
and
leprosy.
worn.
Yeah,
And you've got like tight rib cages but bloated stomachs.
and yet it's entirely entertaining because of how
It's charming.
it's because of how absurd the whole thing is. Like you're watching it and like this is just E.T. on crack.
Yep.
No, on Coke.
On Coke.
Hey!
It's E.T. with no sense of like logic, no sense of craftsmanship or originality or like I don't know, like just logic or sense, and yet it's better because it's fun.
I feel like they did like a storyboard where they just sort of like whacked words on and then they just sort of drew lines between them. It was like, that's a story.
Yeah, I love all the
McDonald's dance chase scene.
within the
My
McDonald's
God,
scene.
he's got it.
Let's chat about the McDonald's scene for a little bit because it is just this full extended. Like it feels like it goes on for a good 10
So that
minutes.
starts from the lead up to the McDonald's scene. They're going to get next door neighbour's older sister because she works there. But they decide to bring the alien along in this
No, they were
horrific...
going to a party.
They were going to
Oh,
go
the
away.
party.
That's the party, yeah.
Party, yeah. But you're missing out the part where they take him in a bear suit.
The most horrific. It's a teddy bear this kid's had from when he moved, but it looked shitty anyway.
Mac in a bear suit
Mac in a
versus
bear suit.
Nick Cage in a bear suit.
You know that bit in The Office where that CPR one in the US office where Dwight cuts the face off the mannequin and wears his face. That's what came to
Accurate
mind.
representation.
This is a full serial killer moment. And again, why a lot of this feels like a horror film, because it's just so shoddily done that, and it's just so tonally inept.
And everyone just thinks it's a full animatronic bear.
Yeah, she even like asks the kid, how long have you had this bear? And he's like, oh, ever since I was a kid. I've had it for years and years and years. Like, oh, how the fuck does it move then? It's like, oh, I got a microchip.
But if it's got a
80s logic.
microchip, how I thought you said you've had it forever. I was like, it's an old bear with new microchips. She's just like, right, fine. They get a McDonald's. It fucking starts dancing on the countertop, full on like dance number with everyone else. Everyone's just like, yeah, animatronic toys, technology's coming along.
The most 80s moment in any film I think I've ever seen in my entire life. It's full like 80s dance off. That just escalates and escalates. Like even when the FBI agents who were searching for Mac and his family the entire time like raid the McDonald's, everyone's still dancing around. They've got guns drawn.
It's
Like,
because it's a competition, Liam. You can't lose. You stop dancing, you're off the floor.
The three fully dressed ballerinas never make
Yep,
a move.
that-
Like, they never
baffling.
What?
baffling.
They were just there for a meal.
we have the introduction of Razzie Award-winning actor Ronald McDonald as well.
The Right Honourable.
The right honourable gentleman, Alec Donald, who I think has like full on maybe three seconds in the film, maybe at best. You know
Ronald
what?
McDonald.
I want to see more from that guy. But you're right. The entire time, it's tonally so inept that it feels like it's like if you were looking at the scenes out of context, you might feel like you're watching a horror film. It's just so fucked up the entire time.
Yeah, I mean, like the Japanese cut. I've
man.
seen the clip now. The kid, instead of like getting blown up in the gas station and being revived, he gets full on shot by a policeman. He's wheeling along and it's just bang straight in the chest. It just goes down.
Jesus.
Yeah. So
Christ.
just for a little bit of context on that scene. So they find Mac's family in the desert. They revive them with coke. They then take them immediately to a shopping center because that's
No, they were at a gas station.
They were at a
so
gas
needed
station.
gas, and the
But they just
shopping centre
left
was
them
closed.
unattended.
So it made sense.
You're allowing
They
very
left
big
them
leaps in
with
logic.
the wheelchair boy and
Yeah.
the little girl.
The ones that couldn't actually stop the humanoid giant aliens from
Yeah,
doing anything.
Mhm.
They go into a shop. Everyone is quite rightly quite freaked out. This is the first time humanity's seen aliens. It's an understandable reaction.
Yeah.
The less understandable reaction is the security guard just drawing a fucking weapon on them and then allowing the dad alien to take the weapon off him.
Like, literally. But it is a good advert for why guns should be illegal. Like, an alien walks
Yeah.
into a store, picks up a Coke, ends up in a
That's the
full
sound
shootout.
like the sound of the worst. An alien walks into a store and picks up a Coke.
I think the real takeaway from this is, let's be honest, is the US police ruin everything.
Everything.
Literally, because
Yeah,
it
they've
ends-
escalated.
it ends
They
in
blew up a
full
gas station.
shootout.
Fucking.
Full shootout, multiple deaths, a gas station explosion, and an actual like kid's death like, on screen, all because somebody picked up a can of
Pick up a
Coke.
gun.
But it leads to a miracle.
An actual mirror. The necromancy.
Yeah, this is true.
Guns are good, people.
So let's bunny hop back a bit because I was just, as well keeping tabs on how many other 80s big films sort of tropes that they've
references,
stolen off each other.
Yeah.
So Mark makes R2D2 noises all the time, doesn't he? He
Yup.
sometimes makes little gremlin noises, but it's mostly R2D2
He just
noises.
beeps.
Like they suck up the aliens and then suck up Mac again in a vacuum cleaner. Very careful, we'll get a copyright strike. Actually, if they didn't get a copyright strike, then we will
Somehow.
Back to the Future ripoff when the kid on the wheelchair's like hanging onto the back of the van because Marty McFly does that on a skateboard, doesn't he? And, like,
Yeah.
and like grabs onto the back of a car while he's moving to escape. What was there any others?
Just the soundtrack. Like you're right. When we made the joke about it being a John Williams soundtrack,
What's
it's
Star
so
Wars, nothing but Star
it's so
Wars.
soundtracky. Like it's such a John Williams moment, but clearly not by John Williams.
But then every now and then they cut it in with some really weird, like
Yeah, but
the score makes no sense. at all.
Like the
But,
80s.
aliens up in the
Yeah.
tree and they've got like
the knockoff Phil Collins.
yeah, and it's got
Yeah.
like this. I feel like it's meant to be a big moment, but all he is there's an alien up a tree. There's some dogs barking at his feet, and the mum and the kid have gone for a run.
Yeah.
And I'm
Yeah.
like, I'm so confused why this is a major.
Because it feels like another filler scene. It's basically
Yeah.
like we don't have this movie is 60 minutes long. We need
Heartwarming
more. We need more
music
scenes.
number.
That's a good 5-minute scene. Like
Yeah.
the hell.
Adds nothing to the actual plot. It just is there to be absurd and is there to kind of fill the runtime. And yeah, it's backed by another knockoff because all the music in this, all the kind of soundtrack music does feel like it's like artists aping other artists as well. So like it's even kind of adding to that mockbuster value of it because nothing is an original concept in this movie, and that's why I love it so much.
You spend your entire time going through the film, going, where's that?
Where do I know
heard that
this?
from? Where have I seen that from? And then you're like, oh no. It's
Sorry, just another ripoff.
Obviously, it's an ET ripoff, but it's like down to like even the minutiae of the scene. So like the last scene where they are being chased by the FBI is beat for beat the same scene, but with Elliot on the bike.
Yeah.
But instead of Elliot like actually being lifted off and like carried away to safety, Mac just steers the kid into traffic again and just causes another pile up.
Nice.
So the death toll is like at what?
At least 50 at the
Oh,
moment.
right, he has a total disregard for human life.
We
None
don't know
whatsoever.
that gas station that blew up. Do we know people weren't in that gas station?
Well, there must have been someone either in the gas station or in the supermarket still. So that's multiple other deaths.
This is
like...
a horror film. It's an actual horror film.
What I'm surprised about with all like this is a blatant rip-off, but Orion Pictures, who were massive like in the 80s and 90s, did all the VHS stuff. They were a backer for this movie, like production backer.
They were the main production house, right?
Yeah, but they've done stuff like all the Bill and Ted stuff, Child's Play, RoboCop, Terminator.
I mean, to be fair, it was hilarious.
Maybe they were just like, shit, we missed out on the
I love there's always
missing the best.
I love there's always only
one.
ever 2 degrees of separation from our best worst, like, you know, RoboCop, Paul
It
Verhoeven.
all comes back to Verhoeven.
It all comes back. All roads lead to Paul
Roundhouse.
Verhoeven. Yeah.
But you're right, Ryan. Like, do you know, this is putting you on the spot, and I'm really sorry if you didn't research this. Do you know if this is what, because you say they kind of went out of business, didn't they, for a little bit, and then came back? Was it in 2014 when they came back? Did this
2014.
Did this have anything to do with them going out of business, or was this well before that?
Oh, when was this made?
88.
88. Well, they ran up until like 1990s.
Okay, so that
should be fine. Then they
one
stopped. Came back 2014. They've just did the new Bill and Ted movie.
Okay, cool.
I don't know how they're still making fucking money.
Orion Pictures, I'm here for you, and I want you to make Mac and Me Too. If you're listening, I want Mac
Mate,
and Me
I'm
Too.
there as well.
Yeah.
Absolutely, bring it back.
I think you can tell by our reaction, we're all absolutely just enamored by this.
That final scene,
Let's talk about the final scene.
I was howling.
Do you want to explain?
I
Yeah,
think
go
this
for it.
might be one of my favourite scenes,
So-
to be honest.
It just slowly cuts through to this like courtroomy sort of vibe. The guy's reading out like all the US blah blah blah, all the legislative stuff, and then it just cuts
So
to
good.
the entire alien
So
family
good.
in like fucking suits, getting sworn in and getting
red, white, and blue tie.
getting
Kids in a little
like
McDonald's outfit.
oh yeah, he had a McDonald's t-shirt on, of course he did. They're just like getting citizenship. And it's just like, oh my god, you didn't send them home to Mars. Fucking hell. And then they just drive off in a pink Cadillac. They couldn't fucking comprehend the simplest of things, but yeah, driving, yeah, off you go.
No,
Have a car.
My favourite
Yeah.
bit in that scene is they say, right, and if you all swear to uphold these standards, say I do. And he's like, like, you are now a citizen of these United States.
They don't know what he said. He could have said "fuck right off." Like, they've got no
I'm gonna
idea.
kill you all.
I love how these are the first aliens. Yeah, it's still like, it's not you are now a citizen of Earth.
Yeah.
You've come from Mars. No, United States.
Yeah, what does Boris think of this? Like, what's the UK thinking? Like, are they like, we want to have some say in this new species that have been
you,
discovered?
like-
They landed on our soil, our puppets.
Well, this is it. It's such a weird like amalgamation of the most capitalist thing, the most American capitalist thing you'll ever see, and yet just again the dichotomy of the fact that it was such a failure and such a box office failure. It's got this like this weird little place in history of being the most capitalist thing you've ever seen that just fucking failed, and yet is so entertaining and is so like it's one of those that you can't turn away for a second.
It works.
You're not allowed to turn away because everything is so garish and everything is so monstrously ugly and nauseating and brilliant at the same time.
I've had about 5 corks since we started watching it.
It works.
Say what you want.
Capitalism
And
works.
I'm pretty sure you checked every delivery service to see if you could get a
Oh my
McDonald's
God,
delivered.
yeah, there was
so,
nothing.
The closest we got was
Wounded.
Subway, which you know.
Not the same.
Let's do a quick round of favorite scenes. We've kind of covered the best scenes, but let's just go around and say favorites.
Favorite, right? Gas station, but it's not the everything blowing up and the kid come back to life. It's after the explosion, things are starting to settle down, and they look into the flames that looks like literal hell. All you can see is an
It's so
inferno of fire and emerging slowly from the gates of hell, and the alien family, immortal and never dying of your soul.
It's a horror film.
It's horrible.
Could you
I love
imagine?
it. I absolutely love it.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I'm glad you mentioned that one actually, because again, just another scene that, if out of context, this is a horror movie. Hannah, do you want to go? Take us away.
Okay, so do you know when the little alien first escapes from the NASA complex and he holds onto the gate?
You say his fucking name, Hannah.
Mac, sorry, the mysterious alien creature
Mums Against Canada.
holds onto the gate outside the complex, and they turn around and he's like morphed.
Yeah.
It's almost like he's stretched,
Yeah.
and he's just like screaming
Oh
and
my God,
flailing about.
yeah.
That one, like, it cannot be described.
He just stretches
Go
his
watch
head
it.
back
It's
and he's
fantastic.
pulling.
Jack?
Sorry, I was looking on eBay for the Volkswagen vans. Because the Volkswagen van.
Oh,
they bomb about in. It's like an old
yeah.
T3, like 80s van. So
Yeah.
I thought it was really cool.
Jack's favourite scene was the vans.
He's indoctrinated.
No, as I said, I think the final scene was just hilarious, where it's just like, we're American now.
It's such a good culmination of everything you've seen before. Like, it builds to this perfect moment of America.
Yeah.
It's actually a really, I think it's a good 4th of July film. If you're an American and you want to film a put on the 4th, you can't get any more patriotic than this. As much as the obvious ones to talk about is the wheelchair scene and the McDonald's scene, I honestly really enjoyed the gaslighting of the kid for the first 20 minutes. When his entire family is just like, nah, you didn't see an alien.
His brother saw this alien as well.
Yeah.
He fully saw the alien. He's still like, what are you talking about, kid?
You're perfectly capable of rearranging the living room in one night.
Bringing 2 boulders in.
And a tree.
And a tree.
You really is. You're spoiled for choice as far as best scenes in this. Like,
Yeah,
I could literally name most scenes.
Homage to the Coke revitalizing the aliens. There's too many to pick from. Just go watch the film.
Yeah, no.
Can I just ask, what else has this director done?
He's done Tammy and the T-Rex. If you were here, no, keep going. If you were, I want to get you on camera. I want to call you out on camera. If you were here for part 1, Hannah, you'll have known that he did Mannequin 2, Tammy and the T-Rex, and the Swiss Family Robinsons. Which Ryan.
Right. Fuck's sake. I was just annoyed that none of them have heard of the Swiss Family Robinsons. It's a classic movie that's very referenced. It's culturally referenced in pop culture all of the time about a family who gets stranded on a desert island when they're on the way to New Guinea.
Bloody, who was it that I got mixed
Never
up
heard
the
of
other day?
That could literally, with you, be anyone, anything.
And somebody else.
We talked about this.
That was
Again,
that was about 4 weeks
we
ago.
need
as
both
well.
people because that could be anyone and anything.
It was Bruce,
could be a tree.
It was Bruce Willis and Mel Gibson.
I'm on a
for
film
everyone.
podcast.
Yeah, my final thoughts. It's delightful yet nauseating. It's a 90-minute commercial. It's at the same time the most entertaining thing you'll ever see, but it'll leave you feeling like your brain's been microwaved
and thirsty for Coke.
And thirsty for Coke. It's great. What I'm trying to say is, it's a 10 out of 10 film. I want to watch it again.
10 out of 10. I don't know how they didn't get Max sued, but fuck me, they absolutely should have by plenty of different people.
Did they actually get sued at all for
No.
any of this?
No.
Weirdly enough, no.
Absolutely got away with it. And you know what? Credit to them.
Do you think they just looked at how much money they got back after how much they spent and just went, poor guys.
Poor guys.
There's no point suing them. They've got fuck all.
Stop. They're already dead.
They loved it. I loved it. You'll love it. Just go in fully armed with all of the junk and snacks you could ever need because you will be wanting them by the time you're done.
Yep. I would say easily, I think, the most entertaining film we've watched. Like,
What definitely top, like,
yeah.
It's top tier.
Next to Showgirls for me for
And
pure
Batman.
just every, and Batman,
Yeah.
for every scene being just, what is going on? Like, no, absolutely 10 out of 10.
Yeah, if someone asked me tomorrow, you're going to have to watch E.T. again or this again, I'd watch Mac and Me again.
I'm so proud of you, Jack.
Honestly,
This is like my proudest moment
yeah.
as your friend. I've been your friend for like, 7 years
I mean,
now?
E.T., the music's good, the acting's good, the screen is good, the sets are good, the dialogue's good, but it's just boring, isn't it?
Yeah.
I'd rather have an
Yeah.
interesting train wreck than a boring
Fuck you, Spielberg.
pleasant one. Sorry, Stephen. Sorry, Steve. Sorry, Stevie. Yeah, it's just funny, isn't it, man?
My biggest takeaway of this whole podcast experience is that I feel like I finally got Jack on board with the with the whole, like, he's done it. He's here. He gets
This
it.
was his
This was the
gateway.
one.
I haven't hated every single film.
No, but
I've
I feel like
watched.
this is the game changer.
Yeah, why
This
didn't you
is-
start with this rather than Troll 2?
I know. Moving
Controversial.
forward, I know what he likes now. He'd love Batman. To be fair,
Yeah,
you'd love Batman.
Batman
so.
and Robin was great. Dungeons and Dragons, great.
Yeah,
Oh my God,
yeah.
What
that
else?
was-
What
The
else?
Room coming up is great.
I'm saving the
We all
room for a
like
special
that.
occasion. Let's be honest. But no, Mac and Me, if you haven't watched it, well, first of all, you should have. But if you haven't watched it, please do go and watch it. It's absolutely fantastic. Anyone else got anything to say? Are we all good? I was thinking a few puns, but I never do this. I never think puns ahead of time.
I normally wait for Jack. Jack normally comes
Jack's
up with one
great at the
really good
puns.
last minute.
Let's
Like,
give him a few minutes
I
to
think
try
I
and
may
think
have
of a
had
few.
one good pun in my entire existence. So
Yeah.
Please know Coca-Cola contains caffeine, which is a highly addictive substance. Please consult your GP before drinking excessive amounts. If you're pregnant or young, you should not drink a lot of caffeine with Coca-Cola-based stuff. Terms and conditions apply.
Perfect. Yeah, thank you so much for listening to our Mac and Me episode, guys. You can check us out at Bad Taste Buds Pod on Instagram and Twitter, and Bad Taste Buds Podcast on Facebook. Next week we are covering your mockbusters. So we've asked on Instagram for you to give us a few mockbusters to watch. I think we're going to do Snakes on a Train. I'm going to try and get Hannah and Jack to watch
Yes.
Tappy Feet.
You show me the front cover and I'm all over.
You like your penguin, so I thought it'd be a good one for you.
Is this going to cost me money to do?
I'll pay.
It's worth it.
It's your birthday.
Is it?
Just by the front poster, I want to watch that film.
I'll pay for it, but it's your birthday present. And the week after that, we are going to do Roland Emmerich's Godzilla, which is going to be the next competition we're running, which is really exciting because it's been a while.
I'm actually really excited to watch this. Considering
Oh my
me and
God,
Jack have
sorry,
just watched Godzilla vs Kong, like the new one, and it was fantastic.
Sorry, I've just seen the front cover for Tappy Feet, and it looks like a 2008 phone game,
Doesn't it? But yeah, thank you very much for listening, guys, and thank you again to Danny Darko and to be fair, everyone on Instagram who's been really excited for this. Brittany Wilder, House of Bard Wilder, every single person who's been excited for the and George from Tipsy and the Warm Tin Boys. You know what? You know who you are. I love you all. I've probably missed a few people out. I'm sorry, but yeah, keep on listening, and we will see you next week. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.